Hi guys, welcome in fourth episode. Today we are going to start working on the chat app. So let's dive right in. So as you know, last episode we have left off at the theme view. I wasn't really doing any work on this one, so this is something to be handled later. As for now, let's focus on the chat as this is something far more interesting. Okay, so maybe we could start with creating a basic controller called like chat controller, and it will simply return a view as for now. So let's go into app, HTTP controllers, and give PHP Storm a minute to load this file in. I don't know why it's lagging. This usually helps me to get it loaded. I don't know why it works this way, to be honest. Okay, so let's create a public function called index that would simply return a view of chat.index. Let's declare a return type. And yeah, that should do the trick. Now in web.php, let's create a new root. Sorry if the PC is kind of loud. It's kind of loud. Sorry. Chat.index, and we should be good to go. So now in our sidebar, we can actually link this one as we did with the theme last episode. Just change theme to chat, and I believe this should be working. Let's check. And surely it does, but our view is not created. So let's get to that. Let's create a new folder called chat, and then simply return a blank view to make sure everything is working. Okay, it's great. So now we could handle the migration parts. I guess we would be creating a new model called chatroom with migration factory. And think about how this one could be structured. Okay, so we for sure will be needing a name for our chat rooms, and I don't plan to like differentiate between a chat room that's between two people, that's private, so to say. So for example, when I chat with my friend, as in directly to him, it would still be a chat room. I will not be creating two models, and as that is getting kind of messy later on. So whether it's a group chat or just one-to-one chat, we'll stick with the chat room model. We can create a Slack for later usage. I guess we won't be using it for now. But later on, when we will be updating the URL dynamically to reflect the current chat, it would be cool. Okay, so I guess that's all for strings. We would need some foreign ID with owner ID. So that would pretty much reference the user that created this chat room. And then maybe boolean is private. This works for me, with default value set to true. Basically, our chat is supposed to be somewhat of a Slack clone, so I guess we could create a new boolean or something like that, so we could handle whether a chat is private, whether it's a group chat or an announcements, a channel. So maybe we could call it type and actually make it unsigned small integer, and then use the unsigned flag. I like it more this way. It feels more readable, at least for me. And now just declare the foreign key. So the owner ID would reference ID on users table and cascade on update and delete. Okay, I think this looks good. So we'll actually be needing some sort of pivot table to store the members of a given chat room. So let's move to that. We could simply create migration, create chat room members table. Okay, great. So this will simply link any chat room with a given user. We can leave timestamps, I guess. It would be cool to show like when somebody joined the chat or whatever. I guess we'll find a user for this one. Now simply declare the foreign keys again and one more model, and we'll be ready to go. Then copy it and change the user ID to chat room ID, and that would reference chat rooms, and this should be working, or this should be also working. The last thing is messages. So I guess let's just create a model called message, again with migration factory. Oh shoot, we didn't specify the proper folder in which they should be created, as we are using the models folder, not the basic app folder. So we'll move them and adjust the namespace. And now move on to the messages table. So here we know that we'll be needing the sender ID for sure. We will be needing chat room ID, so we know who sent the message or where the message was sent to. As for now, let's leave the content as text, and maybe we could add soft deletes. What do you guys think? Yeah, then maybe we could like add the ability to just remove the message for everyone. That would be great. The timestamps for sure are necessary here, and now we can just reference or maybe set up the foreign keys. So let me just copy that really quick. And that's the only thing we need to change. Yeah. I guess we'll be extending this model and we will be adding like ability to upload photos or files, but as for now, let's keep it simple. Then as we progress, then we can iterate on this one and simply add new fields. That's not a problem. Okay, so run our migrations, check if everything is working. And it seems so. Okay, that's great. I guess it's first time the migrations actually work in this series right away. First try, so that's something great. Okay, so I will simply fill the factories for these two, and I will show you guys how it should be working. So one thing that I forgot to set is the default value for the type. So like the default value should be 0. We'll set this one to the constant later. Okay, so as for our factories, this is a factory for the messages, and this one is factory for the chat room. So now I will just add something to migrations, to seeders, to maybe just create a few chats and set the users, maybe send a few messages, and then we'll be seeing it on the front end. It will be easier to work this way. Just created some basic seeders just to check if it's working for us. And now if we run our migration with seeds, oh, of course, it's not working fine because I didn't specify the members relationship, so that's something to take a look at. Members, so this will simply belongs to many user class. I believe we're following the standards, so there shouldn't be any issue. So like we don't have to specify any keys. Chatroom user. We call it chatroom members. Yeah. So we actually have to specify the table, and now it should be working. And it isn't. Yeah, I think I forgot to add another relationship from chatroom to message. So simply messages, and chatroom can have many of them, so has many message class. Now it has to be working. And it really does. Okay, great. Let's check if everything's working. So chat room all, and it's working. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so as you know, I like to set my guarded to just empty array in the chat room and message as well. so there is no mass assignment protection, which I really don't like, as I have validation on my backend, so there shouldn't be any issue. Okay, so I believe we are really good to go. We could start with the design, but first create a relationship from the user to his chat rooms. So user has belongs to many chat room via this chat room members. And now simply see if it's working. So for each of user chat rooms as chat room, let's simply spit out the chat room name. Okay, great, that's working. We'll be using it actually in the Vue itself, so there won't be too much of a blade templates. So we could actually start implementing our chat. Create a new folder, create a chat.vue. This would be our root chat component. So this should be our, this is what our chat should be looking at. We would like to have a toggleable sidebar. Sorry guys, I'm losing my voice today here. Let me just take a sip. Yeah, sorry about that. So about our chat. Our chat will be separated into 3 sections. We should have a sidebar that would show a list of your chat rooms, preferably separated by grouped by their type. So we'd have a start, maybe later, start chat rooms, then announcements or the channels, as I like to call them, then group chats and private chats. Then the next part would be a chat composer at the bottom and the chat itself, and then we could have a toggleable sidebar on the right. So yeah, sorry. So let's get into coding that. We won't be finishing it today for sure, but we could create some basic design for this and then move on. Okay, so as for now, just leave the sidebar out. When we'll be ready to implement it, then we can add it. It's something additional. Okay, so I like to start my design with a flex view. I pretty much have in my head how this should be working, so how it should look like actually. Manage screen. We'll see about this one. PG white. Here we'll declare our sidebar component. Here we can have our flex one, BG gray 100 or so, and here our chat panel. Okay, so actually let's create this too. Chat sidebar.vue. Just to have something quick, let me just copy paste this one. Sidebar. Okay, so let's declare our components. So we would have a child sidebar, sorry. Import this one, and let's create a chat panel. Chat panel, and import this one as well. Then simply reference them. Chat panel and chat sidebar. Now we have to register our view component. And really all we have to do is go to our view and then simply check if it will be working. Oh, and it surely is. The thing I was concerned about with the min age screen is we have the top bar, so we would have to remove some of the. So simply from 100 view height, we would have to subtract the amount of space that the top bar of the or the menu takes. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, there is a padding in our template view. I guess it would be nice if we could remove it. So there is a few approaches that we can take. Right here we have this padding that's set in every class. We could actually just remove it and then add it whenever it's necessary. So for example, we would add it for our team view. Just wrap up everything in the div, then give it a class that we had there before, and copy everything. Oh, I think I have copied too much. This should go here for sure, and we should be good to go. So if we go to our theme, okay, we have the same, and if we go to our chat, yeah, exactly, that's what we want. Okay, so that's how it works, how it looks right now. I guess if we could create the same border we have in the top bar, so it would be consistent throughout the entire height. So let's check if this would work. So at the moment in our menu we have border left of 200. So let's copy this one. Oh. Oh yeah, it's the wrong container, sorry. Okay, this looks great. We could also add some border top, so there will be a separation. Maybe even we could move this really to the menu, and there we could have border bottom. Yeah, I think that's better. Maybe a shadow would be better, but let's not take too much time on this. Okay, guys. So let's start with the sidebar. We could add it some padding for start. Then we could have some kind of search bar. Yeah, now as you can see on our sidebar, there's already a search bar. I don't know if we'll be keeping this one, so let's copy it to our chat sidebar, and then we'll decide. Maybe I can decide behind the scenes. Yes, so go to our sidebar. Yeah, this looks actually pretty good. Let's comment this one for a bit to see. Like, if they were one by side, it wouldn't really look that good. So let's leave it only in the sidebar. If we're still keeping it simple, let's maybe just show the users a list of the chat rooms that he has access to. Let's create it similarly as it is on the sidebar, so a label and then a button to add. We can actually copy it from the sidebar. So this would be something like this one. It would actually be chat rooms or conversations, something like that. Yeah, this looks good. Are they centered? Oh, there is some mudding. Sorry, there is some margin bottom. We should get rid of it as it's messing up our center. Yeah, okay, much better. And now what we want to do is create a request to our backend so we could fetch the chat rooms that user has access to. So as for now, let's keep it in the chat room controller. That's called chat controller actually. Let's create a JSON response. I will actually wrap it into JSON response JSON. Data would be this one, and we should be good to go. Okay, so chat rooms would be an empty array. I guess we would have some sort of selected to indicate which one is selected. We can have some loading state. So let's say some spinner when we are actually loading the conversations. So on mounted, we should do the access call. So we'll axios.get, let's say conversations, chat, all rooms. All rooms. Okay, we'll use the async methods, so we'll give it async keyword, then we can actually wait for the response, so we don't have to do any promises. We'll catch an error, we'll leave it for later. And after data is fetched, we actually have to... Sorry about that, I have had some issue with the recording, and about 10 minutes of it got deleted for some reason. So the footage that was deleted included us finishing the loading of the data, then setting the selected field when the user clicks on the room, and some styling, pretty much basic styling for the rooms. Sorry. So this is how it looks like when we refresh the page. It's we have a nice spinner that is actually spinning. We could comment this out so you guys could see better. And you can see the spinner here. We have the code for this right here. And yeah, I guess that would be all for today. We'll handle the chat panel and its design in the next episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and see you in the next one.